Hi, this is Ingrid from Eat Well, Enjoy Life, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple sauteed julienne zucchini noodle dish. You can make a julienne zucchini noodle and eat it raw, but for me, I like to have it cooked a little bit because it's easier on my digestion. So we start by going over to the sink, and we have 2 zucchini, and we're going to wash them. Sometimes zucchini are very sandy, so I like to use one of these scrubbies and just rub it a little bit to get all the sand off and run it under water so it's nice and clean, because I don't like to eat sand. Okay, so now we bring the zucchini over here, cut off the ends, and we're going to use a mandolin. This is a mandolin, which is a really great cutting tool. You can buy one of these in Target or on Amazon. This one here is really old. It's actually about 40 years old. I used it in my restaurant, and I'm very attached to it, but it might be time for a new one soon. Okay, so we take the zucchini, and if you don't have a mandolin, you can always use a box grater and just grate it on the big holes, and that'll work also. So we just gently, see, this is why I need a new mandolin, because it's not quite sharp enough and it gets stuck. But if you have a new one, it's going to go more smoothly. So you see, you're going to get these julienne pieces, and you're going to do up both zucchinis. So you just gently push it along the julienne, the mandolin, to get nice julienne pieces. And see, you have lots of these. Once you have both zucchinis all julienned, you're going to take them and layer them in a bowl. So you start with one layer of the zucchini and sprinkle it with a little bit of salt. This is going to take the water out of it. I use Celtic sea salt. Just a little more salt, a couple of layers, 3 or 4 layers, and the top. We're going to let this sit just like this for about 20 minutes to get some of the water out. Now, when you're making the julienne, you might have a couple of extra pieces left over. Rather than trying to julienne all of this and risking cutting your fingers, you can just save this, chop it up, and put it in a salad. While the zucchini is resting with the salt, we're going to do the garlic. So over here we have 1 clove of chopped garlic. And when you chop garlic and let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes, it develops a compound called allicin, which is very good for cardiovascular health. It's antibacterial, and it's also has anti-cancer properties. So what we're going to do with this garlic is we're going to mash it to make a paste. And that can be done in a mortar and pestle if you have one, but it's very simple to do it just on a cutting board. You add a tiny bit of salt to give it some grit, and then you take your knife and mash it, and this is going to make it into a paste that cooks very, very quickly, and at the same time really develops those allicin properties from garlic. You just mash it a little bit so you get this nice paste. If you're having any trouble with it, you can always add just a pinch more salt for a little more grit. See, the salt really breaks it down. So we have, you see, we have this nice paste now. I'm going to let that set aside while we're waiting for the zucchini to sit. Now that the zucchini has sat for 20 minutes, you can see that it's gotten soft and a lot of water has come out of it. We're going to put it in a colander in the sink, and then press on it, squeeze it out so we get most of the water out of it. And let that drain in the colander for a few minutes. We don't want to break it down too much, but we want to get some of the water out of it. Okay. Next, we take a heavy bottom saucepan. I like my cast iron pan. It's really old. It's actually from my mother. Oops. And we heat it up. Put in about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. Doesn't need much because the pan itself prevents sticking because it's cast iron. And take the zucchini, toss it in there. And press it down. You're going to press it down so that it browns on the bottom. Let it sit for a few minutes, and then after a few minutes, we're going to toss it and let it brown some more. While that's cooking, I'm going to take this basil and chop it up because we're going to need about 3 tablespoons of basil. I just picked this beautiful basil from my garden, and we're just going to coarsely chop it. I'm going to line them all up, make them into ribbons for starters, and then just chop the other way. Doesn't have to be too fine because you want to still maintain the integrity and taste of the basil. Just coarsely chopped. Very good. Okay, let's see how the zucchini's doing. Okay, we're getting a little bit of brown on the bottom, and that's what we want. We just want a little bit of brown. You don't want it to cook too long because you don't want it to get mushy. You just want it to stop, cook a little bit so it's not raw. Okay, this is just about cooked. It's been about close to 7 minutes. It's nice and brown on the bottom. So we're going to add the garlic paste and mix it around. And turn off the heat because the garlic really doesn't need to be cooked very much. And you can cook it more or less brown depending on your own taste. And then throw in the basil. It's about 3 tablespoons of basil. And mix that around. And that's it. Julienne zucchini sauteed. It's like zucchini noodles. And you can serve this as a side dish alongside chicken or fish, or I like it topped with tomato sauce and some either vegan meatballs or chicken meatballs or grass-fed meatballs. That's all for now. If you want the recipe, you can go to eatwellenjoylife.com and you'll see it on my blog. Bye-bye.